All right, today we are going to review percent. So at the top of your page, write the title Percents Review. Also in your table of contents, write Percents Review. And I want us to start by looking at the standards of what y'all have to know about percents, and then we will go from there. So our percent standards, we have to know, these are for rates, ratios, proportions. We're going to get to that. But here is our percent standard, RP3. It says solve real world and mathematical problems involving ratios and percentages using proportional reasoning. You have to be able to do multi-step dimensional analysis, percent increase and decrease, tax, and then EG means more applications of percents than just that. So we're going to review everything we learned about percents. Just like in our other review videos, if you still have your notes from this, you don't have to copy everything back down, but do work the examples with me. And anything that you copy down, you can use on your test as to help you. So you may want to write down these formulas so that you have them. So first of all, let's review the percent proportion and how that works. So first, what is a percent? A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100, and we learned the percent proportion part over whole equals percent over 100. It may be a good idea for you to copy this little formula, the percent proportion, copy that into your notes so that you have that to use to help you on your test. Now, if you remember, we learned how to apply the percent proportion to a bunch of different types of percent problems. The first one we used it for was sales tax. So we have our percent proportion where sales tax is the part, price is the whole, and then we put percent over 100. Remember what sales tax is. You actually pay this every time you buy something. Sales tax on an item is a percent of the item's price, and remember that it is added to the price of the item to find the total amount that you have to pay. Okay, so every time you go to the store and buy something, you're paying sales tax. So let's try an example of this. Here we have a soccer team eating at a restaurant to celebrate their winning season. Here's the bill, and they've already added up all the meals and gotten us the subtotal. We just have to find what would be the percent of sales tax. Will be the sales tax. It's 5%. So I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to set up my percent proportion. I want you to do this with me in your notebook. So remember, we're going to do part over whole equals percent over 100. I already know that my sales tax here is 5%. 5%. So part over whole equals percent over 100. It's 5%, so I'm going to plug in 5 for the percent. I'm going to rewrite a second percent proportion where I'm plugging these numbers in. So I put the percent over 100, and then my subtotal, that's going to be the whole. So $142 is the whole. I'm trying to figure out what the part would be. The part is going to be my sales tax. So then remember how to solve a proportion. We just cross multiply. So 100 times n would be 100, and then 142 times 5 is 710. Then we're going to divide by the 100, and that leaves us with $7.10. That is our amount of sales tax. Now, what do I do again with the sales tax? Do I add it or subtract it from the price? Sales tax gets added onto the price. So in your calculator, do $142 plus $7.10, and that should give us 100. My pen is not running to write. $149. Oh, the struggle. All right, $149.10. Okay. So again, set up that percent proportion, percent total, and then this is going to be our sales tax. Let's try that. It's the same process for tip. Remember, tip is a percentage that you pay to someone, like a waiter, for services that they do for you. So like a waiter at a restaurant, you pay them a percentage of the bill. Again, we're going to use the percent proportion where the price of the meal is the whole, the percent is going to go over 100, and then the tip will be the part. And then also, just like sales tax, tip gets added on to the cost of the meal. So let's try that with an example. Do this one with me. So here we see that we have our subtotal still of $142. They've added on the bill the sales tax that we just found. Now they want us to leave a tip of 18% for the waiter. And they want us to tip based on the subtotal. So I'm going to be using that $142 as my whole and my percent proportion. So here we go. I'm going to set it up where I have the percent over 100. What is the percent? 18% goes over 100. And then the subtotal is 142. That goes as the whole. And then I don't know what the part is. That's going to be my amount of tip. Now to solve my percent proportion, remember I cross multiply. So 100 times n is 100 n. 142 times 18. Punch that in the calculator. And I get 2,556. Then I divide everything by 100. And I get n equals $25.56. So I would add on the tip is $25.56. When I add that to the total, I have $149.10 plus $25.56. That gives me $174.66. Okay, that would be the total including the sales tax and including the tip. So if I have $175, I do have enough to pay that. Just barely, but I do have enough to pay the tip. All right, let's look at another type of percent problem that you need to know how to use the percent proportion for. Commission. Again, remember commission is when you're giving salespeople like a percentage of the money of whatever was sold. So like a car salesperson, they get to keep a percentage of the price of the car as like their paycheck, okay? Or if they are selling houses, they get to keep a percentage of the price of the house as their paycheck. And just like the others, we use the percent proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. The amount of commission is the part. The selling price of the car or the house or whatever you've sold is the whole, and then percent over 100. But with this, we subtract the commission from the selling price of the item to figure out how much the seller gets to keep. So let's try an example. Here we have a house that costs $145,000 and the commission rate is 3%. So again, using the percent proportion, I'm going to put the percent over 100, 3% commission, and then the price of that house is $345,000. That is the whole. And so n on the part is going to be the amount of the commission. So I cross multiply 100 n equals, let's do 345,000 times 3 in the calculator. That's 1,035,000. And then I divide that by 10. And it gives me, not 10, divided by 100. Sorry, divide by 100, divide by 100. And we get $10,350. So that's the amount that the real estate agent gets to keep. So $10,350. Now then they ask how much did the seller make on the house. So we're going to subtract the commission from the price of the house. Subtract the commission from the price of the house, and the seller gets to keep the rest of the money. Okay? They're going to pay the real estate agent the $10,350, and then they keep the rest. So I'm punching this in my calculator, we subtract that, and so the seller of the house gets to keep $334,650. That's the commission. All right, next type of percent problem you need to know is interest. So that is sales tax, tip, and commission. Next is a separate formula. You may want to jot this down. It's been a long time since we did this. I equals P times R times T. Interest equals P, the principal. Remember, principal means the original amount of money deposited, times R, the interest rate, which is going to be a percent, but we're going to convert the percent to a decimal to plug it into our simple interest formula, times T, the time, and the time has to be in years. Okay, and the interest is like an amount of money that you earn on keeping your money in the bank. It can also work the opposite way. If you borrow money from the bank, they make you pay them back plus an amount of interest, which is like extra money. Okay. If we happen to get an amount of time that's in months instead of years, remember we write it as a fraction over 12. We can't just say 3 For T, if it's 3 months, we would think that's 3 years. That's why we have to put it over 12, because there's 12 months in a year. All right, so if you deposited $2,500 at 3.5% annual interest, I'm not going to do all of these. Let's just jump to 4 years. We'll just say after 4 years. So I'm going to first write my formula. I equals P times R times T. And I want to find the amount of simple interest. So I is what I'm trying to find. P, the principal, is the amount of money I deposited, $2,500. The interest rate they told me is 3.5%, but remember I have to convert that from a percent to a decimal. It already has a decimal point in it, but it's still a percent, so to convert it to a decimal, I move the decimal over 2 times. I fill in that open little loop with a 0, so 0.035, and then I'm going to say for this problem we're doing 4 years. You want to know how much after 4 years. And then I just punch that in the calculator. 2,500 times 0.035 times 4 years. And that gave me $350 when I did that. Okay? So now, if they wanted to know what the amount is that's the balance of my account, I have to add that to the principal. So $2,500 plus $350, that would give me $2,850 total. So I've earned an extra $350 just by keeping my money in the bank for 4 years. And that is the amount of interest. Okay. Another formula you need to know is percent of change. Like I said, this is on that little cheat sheet formula sheet on Google Classroom, but you may want to jot it down. Change over original equals percent over 100. And how do we find the change? By subtracting the numbers. We subtract the 2 numbers to find the change. So change over original equals percent over 100. To find the amount of change, we subtract them. And there's 2 different types of percent of change. We have percent increase and percent decrease. If it's increasing, it's a percent increase. If it's decreasing, it's a percent decrease. That makes sense, right? Right. Okay, so here let's try one example of that. A pet frog measured 51 millimeters, and then it extended to 89 millimeters. What is the percent of change? Figure that one out on your own. When you're ready to check your answer, hit play. All right, so the first thing I had to do was find the change in the little frog's body. So I subtracted up here, 89 minus 51, got 38 is the amount of change. I put that over the original length, 51. So change over original equals n over 100. Then I cross multiplied. 51 times n is 51n. 38 times 100 is 3,800. Then I divided by the number with the n, and it gave me 74.5 blah, 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 some long decimal. We're going to round that up to the 75%. Okay, so change over original equals percent over 100. That is the percent of change formula. Markup and markdown work the same way as percent of change. You're finding the amount that the price has been marked up. You do that by just finding the change in the price, by subtracting the prices. Markup is an amount that is added on to the amount of the item. So I guess this is kind of saying it backwards. The markup, if you compare the selling price and the base cost, the difference there is the amount that the price has been marked up. So here, let's just try one item because we're almost out of time. If I was finding the amount of markup for the car, first I want to figure out how much has it been marked up. So I'm going to subtract the prices. The amount of change in the price is $4,000. This works just like percent of change. The original price was $8,000. Hello, $8,000. That was that original cost to produce the item. And over 100. Then I would cross multiply 8,000 n equals 400,000. I would divide by 8,000. I'm going to eliminate some zeros to make this easier for me. And 400 divided by 8, that's going to be 50. So it is a 50% markup on the